December 2025, I bought oil ETF. It went up more than 50% in the last 2 months and continues to go up. I wish that I was wrong. The reason that oil price went up like crazy is because of the war in Iran. If the conflict gets worse, it could lead to the biggest oil price shock ever. But the surprising part is that the place that would suffer the most is not Europe and not even America, but Asia. In the next few minutes, I'll explain to you why it matters to you and I. Welcome to Finance Panda, where we provide unique insights into Asia's industries, economies, and stock markets for you. If you want to understand how growth engines in Asia can impact you, subscribe now. This tiny waterway is called the Strait of Hormuz, which is between Iran and Oman. Every single day, oil tankers carry around 20 million barrels of oil through the strait. That is 1/5 of the world's supply. In fact, 84% of the oil passes through here goes to Asia, to India, China, Korea, and Japan. Think about it as a giant gas station for Asia. If someone blocks the entrance, there's a huge gasoline problem suddenly. So what's happening right now because of the war in Iran? First of all, the shipments of oil stopped across the strait. Secondly, the price shot up a lot. And the fuel market is tightening in Asia. Oil price has already risen more than 15% in the past few days. Imagine if you go to the petrol station and you look at the price, it has risen from 1.7 euros per liter to 2.2 euros per liter. That's crazy. That hits drivers, airlines, shipping companies, or factories immediately. 4 major Asian economies are particularly hit hard because of their reliance on the Strait of Hormuz. However, they are not equally vulnerable. Number 1. Japan. Yes, Japan is one of the most, if not the most advanced economies in the world. But they have a problem. They almost import 100% of their oil and gas from overseas. That's a bit like you have a giant factory, but you basically have oil, electricity, heating, and water from overseas. When oil prices rise, it takes more money to run the factories. That also means that less profits are being made, if at all. Number 2. South Korea. Similar situations, but even more export driven. Imagine Samsung, LG, Hyundai, Kia. These kind of companies have giant factories in Korea, and it costs much more money for them to run. Number 3. India, the most populous country in the world and one of the fastest growing economies. But it imports almost all its oil. When oil prices rise in India, taxi fares becomes more expensive, food transport becomes more expensive, and basically inflation goes up very quickly. It is therefore no surprise that India tries to find alternative sources of oil, for example from Russia. Number 4. China, the giant. China is a little bit different. Even though it imports most of its oil, it does have some advantages. First of all, it has strategic oil reserves. Secondly, it has pipelines from Russia and Central Asia. Having said that, if oil prices continue to jump, China would have to pay a higher price, of course. The investment implication. That's exactly why I bought the oil ETF in December, which has risen more than 50% in 2 months and continues to go up. There are typical winners and losers in the case of wars. Typical winners, if the war happens in the Middle East, would be oil producers, energy ETFs, commodities ETFs, companies, or gold and silver. Possible losers would be airlines, shipping companies, energy-intensive factories like chemical companies. What's the worst case scenario? So if the Strait of Hormuz being blocked for longer, that means inflation would jump globally and the stock markets would crash. The Iran war is not just a Middle East story, it is an Asia economic story. Because the oil flowing through Strait of Hormuz is literally fueling Asia's growth. If you want to know more about how geopolitics meets Asian market, subscribe to Finance Panda now. See you next time.